Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We are here today with Molly Jackson, who serves as the Director of Corporate Partnership at the American Humane Society. And we are here with Mike, who built his career in law enforcement after serving in the U.S. Armed Forces. He says having a service dog, Justice, at his side is like having a partner watching your back all the time. So, welcome, Molly and Mike, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
At the FPSA, Pet Food Council, we have launched a Walk for Patriots campaign. This Walk for Patriots supports the Pups for Patriots program with the American Humane Society. And Molly's going to explain a little bit about the American Humane Society's Pups for Patriots program and what it all means and what they do. Molly, can you give us a little introduction and share about the Pups for Patriots program?
Sure. Thanks so much for having me, Nikki. Again, I'm Molly Jackson. I'm Director of Corporate Partnerships at American Humane Society. And I have the pleasure of working with partners like FPSA to raise funds and awareness about our Pups for Patriots program. So this program launched in 2017, trains service dogs and pairs them with veterans and retired first responders who are dealing with the invisible wounds of war or service. These service dogs have proven to be a beacon of hope when there isn't much hope to be found. And so we offer these service dogs to veterans in need at absolutely no cost to the veteran or to the first responder. We provide intensive hands-on training to cultivate the connection and relationship between the dog and their new handler. And we've just found through research and through testimonials from our graduates that these service dogs are truly life-saving companions and really help to allow first responders and retired and veterans to deal with those invisible wounds, including post-traumatic stress and traumatic brain injury. And so that's just a little bit about the program. We launched this program in 2017. We do about 12 pairings per year. That's one service member and one dog. We are hoping to increase that to about 80 pairings per year by the time we hit 2030. And so we're just so grateful for FPSA's continued support so that we can continue to provide these very necessary resources.
Thank you. So to go from 12 to 80 in 5 years, that's a lot. What is the wait for a dog?
So the wait list is very long, and there are a lot of organizations that offer service dogs and similar resources to veterans. However, they're not all humane certified. We pride ourselves on having a program that really works with dogs in the most humane way, and we are thoughtful throughout the process. We have about 7 training sites throughout the country currently. And by 2030, we hope to open about 18 total across the country so that we are more accessible to veterans and to first responders so they don't have to travel too far to get the hands-on training that they need at our training sites. We just opened a brand new sanctuary in South Florida, which is going to serve as our flagship location for our Pups for Patriots training site. We'll be able to train 26 dogs. We're hiring more staff. And so we do have, ambitious goals to reach that 80 pairings per year, but we're putting in all the infrastructure in place to be able to achieve that.
What is the biggest challenge you have at American Humane Society with this program to match dogs? And what's the biggest challenge you see?
Mm-hmm. Well, number one is finding enough dogs. That's always going to be a challenge. We typically work with shelter dogs who are already looking for a new home, and the ability to be able to train them and then pair them with someone who really needs their service is just kind of the perfect pairing. And so it's finding the dogs. It's also the resources. We estimate it costs about $30,000 to fully train a service dog. It's about $2,500 just for the medical care and supplies and food that's needed for that dog while they're in the training process. And so, financially, it's it's pretty expensive. And so support from FPSA has truly been, allowing us to continue this work, because it is a heavy burden. And that's why a lot of service members and first responders aren't able to get service dogs because of the cost.
So yeah, we talked about the $30,000 and the cost of training these service dogs. And at the FPSA Pet Food Council, with this Walk4Patriots program, what we're doing is we're trying to raise enough funds to support one service dog. This walkathon happens from October 1st until November 1st. However, guess what? We're going to extend it an extra month. So I've actually had a couple requests from other members from the FPSA whose company, they're doing some side internal fun programs, and they're going to have them end around Thanksgiving. So I've been requested to extend it an extra month. So we are going to be doing that to try to get that $30,000 to you guys. Mike, I have a few questions for you, because
Sure.
spotlight's on you and your dog Justice. Can you maybe talk to us about Justice and what she has done for you, and the changes she's made to your life?
Well, throughout my military and law enforcement career, I've been witness to and involved in a lot of traumatic incidences. And, you really don't have time to decompress from one incident to another on a busy day. And so we just, and I wouldn't come home and share it with my family, because it wouldn't be right to share that kind of stuff with my family. So for the better part of 25 plus years, I would just kind of bury all those things that I was witness to. And 7 years ago, I got diagnosed with it's called essential tremors. It's kind of like a Parkinson's type tremor, and I was forced into a medical retirement. And it was at that point, I was home by myself. My wife was working, and idle minds, all that stuff that I'd been witness to kind of just spilled out onto my lap. And I just, I shut down from everything and everybody. I didn't go out of the house except for doctor's appointments, and I just made life miserable for me and for my whole family. I felt like a big burden at that point. And luckily, I have good family support, something that a lot of veterans and first responders might not have. So my wife encouraged me to go to the VA, and I was diagnosed with PTSD, major depression disorder, major anxiety disorder. And the VA is notorious about prescribing meds. That's their cure-all for the most part. But I started going to group counseling, and I saw a vet that had a service dog there. And I watched, when we were sharing stories, how when he started to get emotional, how that dog kind of brought him back to a level place. The dog started nudging on him and doing things to distract him and bring the focus onto the dog. And I've always been an animal lover, especially dogs. So I went home and I started doing research. And there's a lot of organizations, like Molly said, that are out there, but they're not all the same. There's some that are pretty shady. They ask for money up front, and they promise you a dog, and and the American Humane has been around for 150 years in one way or another. So with the history like that and the people that they have behind the program, I took my chance and I applied for it with them.
Mike had just mentioned something that I thought of. There's other service dogs and programs out there, but they actually charge you for the dogs, and the American Humane Society doesn't.
That's correct. So through our Pups for Patriots program and from generous donations from our partners like FPSA, the service dog is provided to the veteran or first responder at absolutely no cost.
That's really good. That's really good. So Mike, when you went to see Justice for the first time, talk about that. How did that make you feel?
Well, just to back up a little bit, through the application process, I had ran into a problem with the VA. My doctor at the time, my psychiatrist, felt that service dogs weren't beneficial for PTSD. And so we had a big argument, and I told him I wasn't leaving the office until he signed the paperwork, because that's his personal opinion. That's not a professional opinion. And so he eventually signed the paperwork. But the American Humane, they do a great job. They do a lot of interviews with their own psychologists, and they come in to do a home visit, make sure that it's going to be a safe environment for the dog. And they kind of get a feel for your physical limitations, your your activity level, what your day-to-day activities level is like. And so they partner the right dog with the right person. And when it came time for me to get my dog, there was another veteran that was there, and he had a lot of physical limitations. He had a lot of back surgeries and things like that. They gave him this big English Labrador that was, I don't want to say lazy and fat, but it was not like Justice. And the first time we had to put our harnesses on the dog, his dog came out of the kennel nice and slow. He was able to put the harness on his dog and go from there. With her, she was like the Tasmanian devil in her kennel, and she was spinning around and had the zoomies and everything like that. And right away I knew it was going to be a bond made in heaven, because I had to step up my game, my activity level, to meet hers, and that's what I needed, to get my life going again.
That's really good. I like that story. That's really nice. Thank you, Mike. Thanks, Mike, for sharing that. And thank you for your service and everything you've done for the country. Um, I couldn't imagine having to witness pretty much the intensity of different things that you have over the years, both being in law enforcement and the military. Justice has made a huge impact on your daily living, and we want to thank you for everything you've done for the country.
Yeah, I mean, she's been phenomenal. I started traveling again, and my wife and I just took a cruise for our 42nd wedding anniversary. And before her, I was at that point where I was going to join the 22 a day. I mean, I was really that far gone, and luckily, like I said, the good family support I had and getting the help I needed. Now I have a 4-year-old granddaughter, and I have 2 more grandkids on the way that are coming in February and April of next year. Had I made that fatal choice of taking my own life, I might not have been able to be around to watch them grow up. And that's why whenever I get asked to do events and stuff like that to support the program and thank the donors that are participants in the program, I it's my way of paying it back.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah,
So
and Mike is just such a great advocate. As he said, he comes to a lot of our events. He's able to speak to the real impact that the program has had on his life, and wants to make sure that other veterans and other folks in need are able to get this resource too.
So Mike and Justice will be joining us at the EAT show in Chicago this week. You can stop by and say hi, and you'd be happy to talk to anybody about the program and the Pups for Patriots program and everything they've done for you and helping you out. I will be there. I'll definitely come by and see you, Mike, at that show for sure. And I want to thank both you and Molly. So thank you, Mike and Molly, for everything you've done for this program. It's a great cause. And we're looking to raise the $30,000 so we can support another service dog to another retired veteran or first responder. And thank you again, guys, for joining us, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you.